when you organize your thoughts and you rest your mind, I feel like one's physical self is more rested as well because you're not weighing yourself down so much above, you know.
Good morning, men. Welcome to Real Men, Real Talk. This is your Monday motivation. Now, today, it's still going to be motivational, I promise, but we're going to do something a little bit different because we've been talking a lot about, home gyms and getting into the week, crushing it, getting the energy up, that sort of thing. But we have, like you can't do that all the time. You can't just go, because at some point you gotta rest. So this is going to be a little two-part series here. How do you sustain this long term? That's sort of the big heading for this two-part series. And this week, we're going to be dealing with rest. How do you rest well and recover so that you can get back out there and hit it? And Tillman is here with me.
What's up, guys?
And he'll be helping me flesh out some of these ideas because I got my ideas, but I'm no good all by myself. I need to have the help of my buddy here. Okay, so Tillman, how do you, when it comes to your rhythms of work and rest, how do you manage that in a way that allows you to do this long term?
Oh man, well, my first response would be I don't rest.
That's literally not the answer we're going for this time.
Yeah, I know. So, but no, as fun as it's cool, as cool as it might seem, to be like, oh, I don't sleep, I take no days off and stuff like that. I've found that when you live life at 100%, eventually your tank's going to get empty, and your body's going to say, hey, you need to take a break. And if you don't listen to your so-called check engine light, your body's going to take a break on its own at the worst possible moment you possibly can. So you gotta take into consideration the balances of life.
You reminded me of something really important that I learned a couple years ago. There is a difference between rest and collapse.
Yes.
Now, there are always those days where you get home and you just collapse. However, a lot of the times, like the Netflix and drink a beer or whatever you're doing, a lot of times, I'll just speak for myself, I collapse at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my things that I'm trying to get better at is not having a beer at the end of every day. And I've been pretty good at it. Like I'm not judging anybody if you like to have beer, if you like to go out and clubbing, hey, it's your life. But for me, I have found life is better when I don't have a beer at the end of the day, when I engage in actual rest versus just like blowing off steam. When you collapse at the end of the day, you don't get renewed. You don't get revitalized. You rest physically, but your mind just says like, oh my gosh, I can't take anymore. Like, just, give me the TV, give me the beer, give me the whatever your, drug of choice is. Renewal actually involves some engagement. Like you need to engage in meditation, prayer, reading a book that you love. Like actual rest, actual renewal involves a certain level of engagement. You're taking some time and putting some thought into your renewal. So Tillman, I would love to hear some stories from you, like how you engage rest in a more, like you actually engage renewal and rest and don't just collapse. I'd love to hear some ideas from you.
Oh yeah. So I myself, like yourself, have had those nights where it's easy to go home and collapse and just be like done. You can't wait for your head to hit the pillow or anything like that. And so I think one of the biggest things that I've been able to do for myself is kind of like what you said, Chris. You're trying your best not to have a beer every night or anything like that, to find that unwinding or that high to be able to collapse with or whatever you might say. But it's like myself, my biggest thing is like I work on TikTok. I'm on TikTok all day, but I have this bad habit of going home and going in and wanting to just dead scroll, as they might say, and just like watch funny videos and just unwind. And I found that when I do that, I end up falling asleep, and then my mind isn't in the right mindset when I needed to go to sleep. So that's one thing that I've been trying to fight myself personally, it was just like, hey, when I'm at home, let's just get away from the technology. You're around it all day. You're constantly editing videos. You're on a live stream all day. Like enough's enough in a sense. And so I feel like that'd be one of the biggest things for myself is just like, instead of doing that, to unwind, really go and like, this week I've really tried to start just like 5 minutes each night when I get home and just start meditating, to be quite honest with you. Just a quick 5 minute little meditation session. Just to kind of collect everything that's happened throughout the day, and I guess throw out the garbage that happened, and put throw out the garbage. Throw out all the garbage that happened, so that way you can rest peacefully. And if anything didn't work out or anything like that, it's just going to be like, or if you did have something that happened, and it really, really affected you, sometimes you can take 2 or 3 minutes and meditate in the middle of the day. That's something that I found this week that has been helping in my rest process, because it's easy to go back into that character and be like, oh, I get up at this time every single day. I can do this and do this. But when you organize your thoughts and you rest your mind, I feel like one's physical self is more rested as well, because you're not weighing yourself down so much above,
That's really good.
So that's just one of those things that I've been working on this week myself. And then, it's easy to give in and try to kick back and have a Jack and Coke or something like that at the end of the night. But, it comes back to what I said earlier, learning about that moderation, and just making sure that you're rested to, be able to be at 100% at those places where you need to be when you're at them.
That's really good, Tillman. And you convicted me a little bit, because similar to me, or similar to you, I will, you work on the technology all day, you get done, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to scroll Instagram, or oh, I'm going to continue watching Gilmore Girls. Yes, I watch Gilmore Girls. It's actually not a terrible show. But something that my wife and I noticed is that if we have the technology around us, we'll sit there and scroll. And let me just kind of clarify something. Scrolling on Instagram is not necessarily inherently bad. That's not what we're saying.
Right.
What I'm saying, and I think what Tillman is saying, is that at the end of the day, especially when you need to rest and you're trying to rest well and engage with renewal, that collapsing, like it's not what Instagram destroys in your life. It's what Instagram or TikTok or whatever TV prevents you from doing that's actually renewing. As an example, I've found on the nights when I stop scrolling and then I come to my wife and say, you need to stop scrolling. And she's like, oh yeah, you're right. We'll stop. And then my wife and I will have these amazing conversations, and I'll hear about something that she's going through that I didn't even think about, because I'm, during the day, I'm so focused on other things or being selfish or whatever. And then at the end of our conversation, or at the end of the night, whatever activity we do, like might make something together, might clean our room together, like think of redecorating ideas or something. I feel so much better. I feel so much more connected to my wife. I actually feel renewed inside, and I go to sleep a lot more satisfied with the day that I have lived. And I think, Tillman, you would agree that that's kind of what we're going for in rest. We're not going for that collapse. We're not going for, just let the day be over.
Right.
Because that's sort of what we talked about in one of our previous episodes. I think it was last week, or maybe it was one of our previous episodes. I'll try to remember to link it. But that yielding to things as they are, that's not what we're going for. We're going for engaging your rest in a helpful way, meditating, doing the work and turning off the cell phone, and engaging with your spouse in a way that is helpful, and you listen to her. And, it takes some effort, and you don't want to do it on the front end, but after you do it, you feel so much better.
Yes. Man, Chris, that's, I couldn't say it any better, man. That's amazing. So it's, you made me think of something too. It's when you engage in your rest, you got to look at your rest like your work almost. You have to stay engaged with it and be committed to it like you are with your work, with your spouse, whatever it is. And that's something that just like came to me just now. That's something that it's telling me like, hey, Tillman, let's engage in your rest a little more. Like I did good this week, but let's really engage this week, because with the schedule change and stuff like that, it can cause some havoc in your life and make you not want to rest. And then I like what you said about the conversating with your spouse, Chris, because my wife and I have seen the same thing ourselves. Because we both work for the company. We're both here on technology all day, to going to and from and whatnot. And it's easy to just sit down and just like chat and scroll. But when there's no scrolling, our conversations are just like, I didn't even know we could have these kinds of conversations. Kind of situation, like we're both like we're both about to be 30 in the next couple of years and stuff, and we're just like, holy cow, we've never had these sophisticated conversations before. We still feel like kids, but we learn more about each other, and it brings rest into the relationship as well. Because when you're more connected, you're not so restless. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah.
That is super good. It actually, like the work actually brings rest into the relationship. Like that's so good.
Yeah. Something I need to work on, obviously. I mean, we all can be better, but it's just, I've seen the glimpses of the days that I want to relive over and over again, in regards to my spouse, with my family. And those are the days that I look back and I'm like, I wasn't on my phone after I got home from work. I wasn't in the pantry raiding the bag of potato chips or anything like that after work. I wasn't cracking open that beer. I wasn't making that mixed drink. I was with my spouse, with my kid, giving him a bath, putting him to bed, reading a bedtime story, and I feel like it brings more rest to knowing that you're doing the right thing. And like I said, it brings rest within the family too. So,
Well, gentlemen, I think that's a good place to pause this conversation. So next week, in kind of along the same lines of rest and doing this long term, we're going to be talking about how you need people to do life with. Like you need to have a group of people that you belong to. We're going to talk a little bit about how belonging to a group doesn't mean that everybody agrees with you. And we hope to see you there. You can reach us on any of our social channels. We'll see you next time. All right, cool. That was a good one.
Yes, it was. That was good.